Hey folks, it's your main man E here, and I'm here with none other than the beautiful, lovely Kirby. Now, I'm sorry Kirby has a little bit of dirt on his chin. You know these Aussies, we want to keep them clean and spotless at all times, but it rained a little bit. Folks, Kirby is not that unique in the fact that he's reactive sometimes with dogs. It doesn't mean he doesn't love dogs. It doesn't mean he doesn't love to play. In fact, he's been playing with dogs over here. He's great. We have not had a single issue with him with dogs when he's playing with them. But at times, his genetics can take over. And next thing you know, he's trying to control the environment. He's barking at dogs. He's lunging. He's just doing crazy stuff on the other side of the fence. We're wondering what's going on in his head. Folks, nothing's going on in his head other than the fact that he's an Australian Shepherd that's just missing a few fundamental parts of training. Okay, the one part I want to go over first in this video is just an understanding of leash training, okay? Leash training with this type of dog is super important because with the leash I can tell him what to do and I can communicate with him even when he doesn't want to do what I say. If he... Look at these puppies over here, like eating this little puppy. Hey, guys, enough. Hey, enough. You see how I got these guys to the point where they listen to me? Hey, enough, 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 Emma, enough, enough. Emma, enough. Is because I use leash as training collars, like this collar you see on him, the prong collar here. Okay, the prong collar, you can see it right here. That's how we're communicating with him. Okay, so let's just go over the basics of his leash commands. And we're using kibble as a reward. We're just gonna give him one kibble at a time. This dog's very trainable. He doesn't need high value rewards. He really just needs you to say good or say treat and give him food and use the leash, and he does really well, okay? So let's work with him on that right now. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, let's go, and I'm start walking with him. Now you'll notice the length of my leash. It's pretty loose, but it's not so loose that he can go to the other side. You see, I want him to know when I say let's go, he's gonna walk on one side of me. And in this case, it's gonna be this side, because that's the side I put him on. So you'll notice I just walk back and forth like this. This is how I practice walking with him on the leash. Now, some people are gonna ask me, Eric, why aren't you out in public practicing in the places where he struggles? Well, folks, this is a good amount of distraction right here for us to practice. And you can see this is plenty hard enough. I don't need to be anywhere with more distractions than what we're seeing right here, which is the camera person walking next to us and a bunch of dogs on the other side of the fence that he really likes. Another thing to think about is I don't want the dog associating training with being stressed. So I don't want to practice around stressful things. Now you can see here he's kind of lagging behind, okay? This is normal. He's not really sure what's going on. He's going, hey, there's a lot of dogs here. I associate being around dogs with doing what I want to do. And I'm telling him, hey man, I don't think that's maybe what we're going to be doing from now on. Now maybe one thing to think about is perhaps, and let's see when I start walking forward. There you go, good boy, good boy, good boy. Maybe the camera person stops moving. Perhaps that movement of the camera person is creating confusion with him because he's kind of overwhelmed. Good boy, good boy, good boy. So you'll see, all I'm doing is walking back and forth with here. No, I'm not saying much, I'm just walking back and forth. Let's try putting him on the right side and see how he does here. So I'm walking back and forth like this, and he has to maintain his position on one or the other side of me. Now, for whatever reason, when we start going back this way, he says, I don't want to go back that way. I'm like, oh, okay, buddy. Maybe he thinks the dentist is over there or something. I don't know what he thinks, but I do know one thing. He's going to have to walk where I'm telling him to walk. And so you can see I'm just maintaining consistency here, and I'm just acting like, you know, everything's good, everything's normal. And I'm going, no, man, we're walking this way. And you can see gradually he's understanding. Oh, okay, no big deal. We're just walking that way. Come on, this way, buddy. Now that we're in a pretty good space, you hear me now saying, come on, let's go this way. Now I start talking to him a little bit because he's in a good space. We're learning together. Good boy, good. And I start using some food. Treat. I didn't want to use the food to get him to pay attention to me. I kind of wanted to be like, hey, bub, you're going to pay attention. That's how this is going to go. And once he started paying attention to me, I start using food. Good boy. Treat. The thing is with these types of dogs, they'll really listen to you when you have food, but then you don't have food, they don't listen to you anymore. Good boy. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Sit. Treat. So now I'm going to start adding something. Okay, first we were walking back and forth. Now we're gonna walk and then tell him to sit. So we pull up on the leash, sit, good. Let's go. Sit, treat. Let's go. Sit, treat. So what you can see, folks, is I'm using the leash here to communicate with him. I'm pulling up on the leash. After I say sit, sit. He sits down, I release the leash, treat. I say treat, I give him some food. I'm teaching him, hey, Kirby, when I pull on the leash, you have to calm down. And now you could see around dogs playing, I can start teaching him, hey, maybe a better behavior than lunging is to sit down. Good. Treat. Maybe you look at me, Kirby, and I give you some kibble. How's that sound? He's like, yeah, that sounds great. So, sit. Good. Treat. Sit. Treat. Now this is just the basic idea, folks. This is not the solution to your reactivity problem with your Australian Shepherd, but this is the basic premise that we're going to use the leash to start training the dog. We're going to practice training them when there's not a lot of crazy distractions going on. We're going to use something like the prong collar and food in a treat pouch to guide the dog around low-level distractions. Sit, treat, okay? We're going to practice walking back and forth like this around low-level distractions. Maybe we're going to change the length of our leash and we're going to practice walking with a looser leash. Let's go. 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 Maybe we mix it up. Sometimes he does stay on one side of us. Sometimes we're clear. Hey, I want you changing sides when I turn. Okay? Oh, and we start looking at where some of these areas are where he gets confused. Can we keep him on one side of us when we turn? You hear me saying when he's not doing it right. Let's go. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Can he hold his sit even though I haven't paid him? Sit. Can he hold his sit when I walk away? You see me kind of walking away in a methodical fashion. I'm doing that on purpose. I'm letting him know, treat, that I'm playing a game in which I'm testing his obedience. Sit. Treat. Now, last but not least, let's go over his recall. For this exercise, we'll take his leash off and we're going to toss some food. Break. Kirby, treat. Break. Break. Kirby, treat. Break. Kirby, treat. So we say break, which is a release word. We release him to get some food. We could alternatively say, go free. Kirby, treat. Go free. The reason we're tossing food is so we create, like I was talking earlier, a small distraction. Treat. And to give him a reason to be pointed away from us. If we don't train the dog around any distractions, we're never going to get them to be able to listen to us around high distractions. But if we only train them around high distractions, we may find ourselves and our dog feeling very frustrated because the training may not be going quite as we expected. Good boy. Look at his fur. Look at this. Oh, hi, buddy. Okay, so we went over his recall. And then the other thing I want to go over is just how we would start sending him to his bed as a command. So I'll put the leash back on him here. Hey, baby. Kirby's been a great dog. He's been really fun to stay with us. But we've seen him struggle with a lot of arousal. He gets really excited and he wants to play, but sometimes it's like 6 in the morning. It's not time to play, Kirby. Okay, so the thing we've been doing with him is teaching him how to go to his bed. This has been very helpful because when he goes to his bed, he actually just sits there and calmly waits for us to get up, get our stuff going. No. Okay, he doesn't want to get squirted with the squirt bottle. I don't blame him. Kirby, I don't want to get squirted either, unless I'm doing my hair. Okay. So we're going to work right now on his place command. One thing to think about with the place command, place, is that we have a leash here tied up. Okay, you see this leash? This can attach to his collar. Now, we're not going to tie Kirby up and have him very frustrated. Okay? No. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to just hang out near him. Clip this onto his normal collar, okay? I have to be clear. We don't want to tie the dog up to that prong collar. We clip this onto his normal collar, which I am remembering doesn't have a clip on it, or a little loop. Now he's leashed up. We can sometimes, in some cases, give the dog food here. That can help. The way we would do that is we just put the food down on the mat, or we put a bowl of his food there. That can be helpful. Though we want to be mindful that very quickly we don't want to be giving food when the dog's in this position. So one thing to do is just walk him over there, put food there, toss food there as you saw us doing earlier. It makes him already want to go here. He's a really smart dog, and he's like, oh, they put food there. Like, why don't I go to my bed? Okay? And get him used to being tied up while there's food. He's not going to be frustrated. The goal is not to have him tied up here and frustrated. It's to have him tied up here and feeling really calm. So maybe you even put the tie back into place next to where you're going to already be sitting calmly to watch TV or something, or at your desk. And he's used to sitting next to you at your desk, relaxing. Good boy, good Muppet. So, like I said, we don't want him frustrated here. We just have him tied up for a little bit. Now here we've had him tied up for a long time. He's learned how to settle and chill for 30 minutes, even longer. Even when he didn't necessarily want to do that at first. But at home it may take a while because he may be used to being excited around the house. It's going to take time for him to understand, hey, sometimes we have to have you be calm. Okay, so right here, you hear me using that word, This is one of the words I'm going to be using to guide him. It's super important that we're telling the dog good and we're telling the dog no. You could say, you could say no. You could say, meh. Okay, let's go. So I get him off of his bed, and then here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to pull him towards his bed with the leash. Now, you could see he was a little confused there. I'm not going to force him. I'm going to pull up with the leash. Place. I'm going to pull down with the leash. Place. Treat. Give him a treat. Place. I pull up with the leash. I pull down with the leash. Treat. He gets a kibble. Place. I pull up with the leash. I pull down with the leash. Treat. Place. Pull up. Pull down. Treat. Isn't he beautiful? Look at his beautiful butt. Oh, his beautiful coat. Yes. Okay, pull up. Pull down. Treat. Okay. Now, sometimes the dog's going to get stuck, and you're going to find that you're pulling them towards here, they're not going to want to go. So let me show you how you're going to arrange your bed so it's going to be a little easier to get the dog onto it. Treat. What you could do is put your bed like this, okay? And then when he's over here, I pull him towards me. Treat. It's really important during this phase you're using a treat pouch and you're not having food in your hand all the time. You can already see he's so smart. We don't want him just looking at our treat pouch or our hand all the time. We really want him looking up at our eyes. Treat. So this is just the first phase of training. Like I said, this is in no way the solution for the reactivity. I know we're all in the world of wanting a quick fix. Quite frankly, there's just not always a quick fix, though we can have some tools or methods that can give us a boost in our progress or can make progress happen sooner than later, there really is no quick fix. Even the things that sometimes fix our problem momentarily are really more of a temporary solution that gives us the time to go back and then address what we really need to address. Good, and the reason I say that is because when we're using the prong collar treat, or we're using the training collar like the remote collar or the shock collar, there's a tendency for people to think that the correction is the solution, when in fact the correction is a part of the solution, but without all this underlying work, it may not really solve the problem treat, or it may not have you reach your highest potential. Now, that's not to say that sometimes people putting a prong collar on the dog so they can stop the dog or correct the dog for lunging, or they put a remote on and they can stop the dog, is not helpful and better than them not having control over the dog. You know, as a professional trainer, I think it's our responsibility to say, hey, look, here's how we should be doing it. Because, I mean, look at how nice it looks when we're doing it right with him. I mean, he's so happy. He loves his prong collar. He loves the work. He loves the training. This one, I mean, treat. But if we don't do this work, the prong collar and the training, it's not going to look like this way. And more importantly, it's not going to feel this way. Treat. So that's all, folks. Just a video with Kirby, most beautiful Aussie I've ever seen. Hi, baby. And had a really good training session. We've got his 3.3 millimeter prong collar on here from Hermspringer. Yeah. Yeah, you like your training collar, huh? Is that fun? That's the goal, folks. We want the dogs to like the collars, to like the training, to have fun. Oh my God, his hair. I can't get over it. Oh, I don't want to give you a bath later. Oh my gosh, just look at him. Just look at his head. Just look at his freaking head. Okay, we'll see you then, folks. Take care. Bye.